Howdy, Ando here from Happy Life Martial Arts. Let's talk about anxiety, fear, even panic as you walk into a belt test. Now, I've already made a video about the fear of sparring. I'll put that link below. I've also made a video with some tips to help you remember the movements of your kata or your form. I'll put that link below as well. But right now, I just want to talk about performance anxiety. The feelings that you get when you have to stand up all alone in front of your teacher and your classmates, the whole world, and perform movements. Now let me tell you right up front, feeling uncomfortable in front of a group of people is completely normal. It's natural. I do believe that studies show that public speaking is the #1 fear of most human beings. I'd say it just means you're smart. But today I've got 3 tips to make you even smarter. So you'll not only ace that test, you're going to feel great doing it. Let's get started. Tip number 1, shout it out. You know all about the kiai, the spirit shout. I think the mistake is people think of the kiai as a way to show spirit instead of a way to build spirit. Let's think about battlefields. There's nothing natural about standing in a field with a spear or a sword and then running into battle trying to cut off people's heads while they are trying to cut off your head. Pretty stressful, almost as stressful as a belt test. So what have human beings done in the past to psych themselves up for something that uncomfortable? Well, they might wear the hide of a dead animal. They might smear their face with blood or bang on a drum or scream a battle cry. That battle cry is not just to scare the enemy, it's to bring up your own courage so you can get the job done. So now let's think about your belt test. At your belt test, you're probably not going to be required to kill anyone. That's old school. You're probably also going to be looked at kind of funny if you show up with a dead squirrel on your head. So don't do that. But shouting, letting out a battle cry, that is still acceptable. So that's what I recommend that you do. Make some noise. Now, let's talk about how to politely start making some noise. Yes, you could sneak into the bathroom and roll up a towel or bunch up your uniform and just scream into it over and over again. That's better than nothing. But more than likely, the first chance you're going to get to make some noise is when they call your name to step up. That's when you should let out the biggest "yes, sir" or "yes, ma'am" that you possibly can. That'll get you out of your head, and you'll start feeling your throat, you'll feel your big breath, and you'll hear the echo of your voice in the room. That will widen your awareness and sharpen your focus. So don't miss that chance to make some noise. Usually, before you start a form, you're also going to announce what you're going to do. Use that like a battle cry. Again, that's not just to impress the judges or impress your teachers. That's to bring up your spirit before you go charging into this battlefield. So let that be a battle cry right as you begin your form. And really, my favorite tip, don't tell anybody this one. Fake coughing while you're waiting for your turn or in between what other people are doing at their belt test. Just start going, or a big sneeze. Make that big noise earlier so you can really already start broadening your awareness and sharpening your focus. That's just a little trick that I find helpful. Tip number 2, give yourself a squeeze. No, I don't mean a hug, although that's always nice. I mean squeezing all of the big muscles of your body. Here's why. Your anxiety and fear don't come from your knees or your elbows, right? It's all up here in your head. It's because of the monkey brain. You've heard of that. Your brain is wired to look around at all times for trouble, for danger. And if you don't give that monkey something else to do, it's just going to keep running around and making you worried. The problem is, even though the monkey means well, the monkey is a liar. The proof? Look back on your life. Think of all the times you were worried and nothing went wrong. Think of all the times that you had fear or doubt, but you did just great. I mean, you made it this far, didn't you? So, the trick here is to get out of your head and into your body. To stop focusing on things that you can't control and focus on something you can control. And that means your muscle. It's like that gag that we've all seen in the movies a million times. Someone is freaking out and then someone slaps them in the face. That perfectly represents getting out of your head and back into your body, albeit through pain, which is not always the preferred methodology. But let that remind you that fighting is a feeling problem, not just a thinking problem. As students, we can sometimes get caught up in being the clever professor, believing that we can think our way through every problem. But that's not true. It's not all about the monkey brain. It's also about being a monkey man. We want to have a balance between thinking and doing. Sometimes I'd be jealous of people who are just natural athletes, but they're not that smart. But boy, they can just come in and get things done. And I wonder, do they ever worry about anything? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. All I know is that I don't want to just be a horse and I don't want to just be a jockey. I want to combine those two things so that I have power and I have some tactics and strategy. Put those together and you'll be at your best. And how do you wake up the monkey man? It's not hard. Clap your hands. Stomp your feet. Squeeze your chest. Squeeze your fists. Squeeze your belly and your butt and your legs. Squeeze everything. That will drop your attention out of your head and into your body. You'll start finding your balance. If you think about it, most forms start with some type of ready position. That's the perfect chance to squeeze everything and get your power up. Of course, the best part of this tip is that you don't have to wait until you're called up to start doing it. You can be squeezing your big muscles anywhere, anytime. So if you're sitting on the floor waiting to be called up or sitting in a chair, start squeezing those big muscles. Get ready to make a big noise because your time is coming. Tip number 3, why? Why are you doing this? Why are you putting yourself through the torture of a belt test? If you think about it, it's not really fair at all, is it? When you signed up for martial arts classes, maybe your goal was just to get in shape. Maybe your goal was to learn how to defend yourself a little bit. But your teachers told you, yeah, you can accomplish that goal here, but to do it, you have to memorize hundreds of movements, and you have to get up every once in a while and perform them in front of other people, and you'll be judged on how you do them. That seems like a bait and switch, doesn't it? That's not what I signed up for. I didn't ask to be part of a dance troupe, and I certainly didn't ask to be put on trial. The problem here is that your goals have become your teacher's goals. Instead of focusing on what you wanted from them, you've now started to focus on what they want from you. It's all backwards. Your first concern should be not disappointing yourself, not that you might disappoint your teachers or your classmates by your performance. You'll disappoint yourself if you don't get what you wanted when you signed up in the first place. So that's why you should focus on that. Why did you sign up? If you focus on that, then all the rest of this noise goes away. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that you should disrespect your teacher or the training methodologies of your school. I'm just pointing out that if you're not achieving the goals that you set for yourself in the beginning, and now you're carrying this additional weight and stress of belt tests and performing in front of groups of people, that you might want to look into a different school or a different training methodology. On the other hand, if you are largely achieving the goals that you originally intended, and it just happens that this is an additional little stress that you have to deal with once in a while, well, then the trick is to form a personal connection to the material. When you do a kata or a form, there should be some part of it that means something to you. And that can be anything you want it to be. Maybe you just enjoy the aesthetics of these movements. Great, focus on that. Maybe you have a literal vision of what each movement is doing to a bad guy and you see yourself victorious move after move. Great. Maybe you just like the timing of your mind and your body being put together in a sharp focus over and over again. Fantastic. But if you don't have a personal way to get enjoyment out of that exercise, then you're only going to let your monkey brain focus on what everybody else wants from you. And then when you start doing that, there are too many corrections, too many mistakes, too many faults to think about to ever make you happy. So please, if you're going to stay in that school, and if you're going to keep doing kata, and you're going to keep showing up at belt tests, form a personal connection, a personal why you enjoy doing kata. Whether you're on your own in the garage, in the backyard, in a park, on a stage or at a belt test. One more thought. It's very common to think about belt tests as being a simulation of sorts of a real-life self-defense situation. You're put under stress and you're forced to do your best no matter what. And I think we would all agree that when you go through a belt test, we all bring out our best and we all jump up a notch. So fair enough, belt tests, good. However, if you approach a belt test with anxiety, with fear, with panic, does that suggest that you might approach real life with anxiety and fear and panic? I would hope that you could reflect on your approach to a belt test as a mirror into what kind of person you are and what training has done to you. If you're finding that you are not trusting yourself, that you don't feel comfortable making mistakes, that you don't really know what you're doing or why you're doing it, these are serious issues. Martial arts, above anything else, should be helping you build trust in your decisions, helping you find your courage, take action when you need to, and not care about the judgment of anyone else. If you know it's the right thing to do, you do it. And I don't care what anybody thinks. So that's just one last little thought as you approach your training. Is it giving you what you want? And is it transforming you into the kind of person you want to be? I hope these tips were helpful. If not, hey, let me know in the comments. Until I see you next time, keep that monkey on a leash and keep fighting for a happy life.